You feel empty. You feel lost. You look around and it seems like everyone knows what the next step is. Everyone knows where they're headed, what their final destination is. Well, you don't even know what you'll do tomorrow. You don't understand the meaning of your existence. You don't understand why you were brought into this world. You just exist, an empty body that breathes and moves. There's nothing out there to make you wake up in the morning, nothing to make you want to live. There's only confusion. Everything you do just to fill the time. You keep going without any clear direction, without any final destination. A lost soul wandering the desert. Go to university, become a doctor, become a lawyer. During your lifetime, you've probably been told many times what path you should take. Parents, teachers, society, everyone seems to have a plan for you. Everyone tries to project their version of life onto you. They're convinced they know what's best for you. The tragedy is, most people listen to those voices more than they listen to themselves. And then one day, they wake up and realize that they never truly lived. They just followed a script written by others. So if the idea of sitting in lectures for years, wearing a suit, or working in an office makes you feel trapped, that's not your path. Let go of the expectations that never belonged to you in the first place. Because in order to find your purpose, you must be willing to rebel. Not against others, but against the version of yourself that they created. The polite, quiet self who learned how to please, the one who conformed to survive, the one who performed rather than lived. You did not choose that self. It was assembled for you, from expectations, from fear, from the need to belong. Purpose demands sacrifice. You will lose people. You will outgrow your environment. You will be misunderstood. But what you gain is worth far more. Alignment, energy, meaning, the sense that for once your actions reflect your truth. This is not a feeling you can fake. It is the difference between existing and living. For once in your life, hit pause on everyone else's opinions. No noise, no advice, just silence. In that quiet, start asking yourself what you truly want. Not what sounds impressive, not what pleases others, but what makes you feel alive. Chase the things that light a fire in you, even if they don't come with a title or a degree. Follow your curiosity. Let it tug you toward the experiences that spark a pulse in your chest, even if they make no sense on a resume or at the family dinner table. Do not imprison your true desires within the boundaries of someone else's idea of life. Go back to the only time in your life when you were truly free. Return to the moments when you were just a child, before the noise, before the pressure, before anyone told you what your future should look like. That's where the truth lives. That's where your purpose has been waiting all along. Back then, you didn't need permission to follow your curiosity. You didn't care if something was practical or impressive. You did what felt natural, what pulled at you from the inside. Maybe it was drawing on the walls, dismantling your toys just to see how they worked, creating stories out of thin air. Whatever it was, it came from a place untouched by fear or doubt. It wasn't planned, it wasn't performed, it was real. It was you. You might not have noticed it at the time, but those small obsessions weren't random. They were clues, traces of the person you were meant to become. Some kids are drawn to movement, others to silence. Some fixate on patterns. Some lead, some build, some observe. These early fascinations often foreshadow your deeper nature. The world tries to mold you into something else, but underneath all that shaping, the original form is still there, waiting to be uncovered. Many of the world's most fulfilled people didn't invent their passions, they remembered them. They reconnected with something they once loved and followed it with new eyes. Start simple. Journal the moments you felt most alive as a child. Revisit old photos. Ask the people who knew you then, what was I always doing? What couldn't I stop talking about? You're not looking for a job title. You're looking for a thread, a pattern, a frequency you once resonated with. When you find it, you'll know it by the feeling, a strange mix of nostalgia and hunger. That's the voice you buried under years of expectations. That version of you, the child who played, dreamed, explored without limits, that's who you need to reconnect with. Because in that freedom, you'll find the first sparks of your purpose. Not a polished, final destination, but a direction, a feeling, a quiet voice that says, "This is it. This matters to me." A fatal mistake people make is waiting for purpose to appear fully formed, like an epiphany or a divine sign. They sit in comfort hoping clarity will arrive, but clarity does not come from thinking, it comes from doing. You cannot find your purpose if your days are copies of each other. If you want different answers, you must ask different questions. If you want a new direction, you must walk a different path. Every new experience is a doorway. Every skill you attempt, every environment you step into reveals another layer of yourself. This is how mastery begins, not with a grand vision, but with a series of small bets. As Robert Greene writes in Mastery, the most powerful path is one that combines deep interest with deliberate exploration. Test your ideas in the real world. Follow curiosities, even if they make no sense to anyone else. That confusion is a sign you've stepped outside the script. Purpose isn't hiding in some distant career. It's hiding in the pattern behind your actions. But patterns only emerge through variation. You must live widely to see clearly. Modern society thrives on the idea of a fixed purpose, that you have one calling, one job, one identity to discover. And once you find it, your life will make sense. This is not just a lie, it is a trap. We're taught to believe in the myth of the one true path, as if purpose is a single treasure buried somewhere, and your life is just a long scavenger hunt to find it. But human beings are not static creatures. You are not a machine built for one task. You are a system of instincts, talents, desires, and contradictions. Purpose is not a single point. It is a direction, an unfolding, a series of transformations. It evolves as you do. Take, for example, Leonardo da Vinci. He was not just a painter. He was an engineer, an anatomist, a musician. His purpose wasn't limited to a profession. It was a compulsion to understand and create wherever that took him. Yet most people spend their lives trying to shrink themselves into one role. They fear being inconsistent. They fear starting over. They forget that life happens in seasons. A purpose that once fit you may stop making sense. That is not failure, that is growth. Clinging to a single identity is like wearing a suit you've outgrown. It might have looked good once, but eventually it restricts your movement and suffocates your spirit. You are not here to be one thing forever. You are here to become. So stop asking, what am I meant to be? Start asking, what am I meant to explore next? Purpose isn't about a final answer. It's about staying close to what feels real, meaningful, and alive, whatever form that takes at this moment in your life. Here is the paradox. Your purpose is actually something you were born with, but you are not born knowing it. Unlike animals, humans are not hardwired for survival alone. A lion does not debate whether it was meant to be a rider or a fighter. It hunts, it acts on instinct. But we are different. We are the only species that must choose how to live. We don't just act. We reflect, question, doubt. We have to build our reason for existing. This is not a flaw. It is the cost of consciousness, and it's also the gift. Because within that ambiguity lies the power to shape a life no one else has lived. You did not choose your nature, your core temperament, your interests, your fascinations. Those came with you, but you do choose whether you will listen to them. You do choose whether you'll follow that quiet pull or silence it for the sake of safety. Most people are not unworthy of purpose. They are simply not available to it. They are too distracted, too scared, too entangled in roles they never chose. But once you begin to pay attention, purpose stops being something you seek and starts becoming something you recognize. Think of your purpose like a buried map. It came with you into the world, but over time it was covered by dust, the opinions of others, cultural expectations, fear, conformity. Most people never bother to brush that dust off. They don't realize the map was always there, folded quietly inside them. Instead, they look outward, hoping someone will hand them a plan. But no one can. No one should. Your life is trying to speak to you. Every boredom, every craving, every burst of joy, none of it is random. They are signals, echoes, warnings, invitations. They are the language of a life unlived, calling you back to yourself. Most people never answer that call. They silence it with noise, with comfort, with the false safety of being liked, being predictable, being acceptable. But the truth doesn't go away. It waits, patiently, quietly, until one day you stop running and you begin to listen. Because the map you've been searching for was never out there. It was never in a career title or a degree. It was inside you, buried under layers of performance and fear. But a buried fire is still a fire, and it only needs one spark, one act of courage, one moment of honesty to begin burning again. So do not wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. Do not search for the right path. Walk until the path appears. And above all, never confuse the comfort of others with the truth of your own soul. The purpose of your life is not to please, to fit, to survive. The purpose of your life is to become.